Welcome to the 10th episode of Gospel Open Data Science. I'm your host, Mark G. Bilby. The latest news is that Markus Vinzent, as of a few days ago, has submitted his finalized version of Marcion's Apostolos to the publisher, Narr Francke Attempto Verlag in this case. And Markus and I are collaborating, I think, together with Lance on submitting data sets to the Journal of Open Humanities Data again. These are data sets that were created more than a year ago when Markus was, through sort of stage one of his reconstruction process, but still spent the last year doing extensive refinements and morphological analysis as part of that. So these data sets going back a year helped a lot in the process of the reconstruction, where Markus and Lance and I could all run analyses of morphological patterns and morphosyntactical patterns, often involving bigrams or trigrams or just certain morphological forms. And that helped Markus in the process of refining his edition more and more so that it could separate out the voices, as it were, between the Marcionite text and the canonical redaction. So, but now Markus is finished with his refinements. He's going to be, he's already submitted this to the publisher. I gave him some feedback just yesterday on things that I found as I was combing through the data sets carefully. And so I'm now revising the data sets, and then Markus and I will be submitting these to the Journal of Open Humanities Data probably in the next couple days, and likely archiving it openly so that people can start to use the data right away if they would like to, and would be welcome then also to give us feedback on any problems or errors with the data. So, but I thought, again, in the interest of open science and transparency and research methods and code and data, that I would open up the box a little bit and show the process of refinement and aligning the data sets. This is similar to things I presented on the last few episodes, but now this is live data that's about to go to the Journal of Open Humanities Data for the first time. So gives you a sense of like what the research looks like up to the minute. And I've already made it through about 1 Corinthians 14. So this is Markus's submitted version in the top left. And I use that as the basis to create XML this time. So it's a Perseus project compliant XML file or digital edition. And that's essentially the text here in column G. Column H is a simple transcription. And then columns I, J, and K are BibleWorks Greek morphology tagged text. One that combines the lemma and the part of speech tag, and then the other two columns separate those out. So previously with the Journal of Open Humanities Data, we just submitted text versions and BibleWorks Greek morphology versions. We didn't do an XML Perseus compliant version. So this time we're going to include that as well. So it'll make it more accessible, maybe through the Perseus project if we're able to get that collaboration going, or in other platforms as well. And then we'll also be combining all of these into a CSV so that it allows for deeper analysis. But again, this is part of our alignment process. Again, in practice, I've just found that aligning the data sets, joining them together, binding them together is one of the best ways of doing quality control in the data, because inevitably there's going to be, a missing word here or there. There's going to be an extra word here or there, a missing verse, an extra verse, and so on. So this helps me, really like with a fine tooth comb, make sure that the data sets are in alignment with each other and in alignment with Markus's text in this latest revision. So I mentioned I'm up to about 1 Corinthians 14 now. So I'm just going to, I'll narrate a little bit at the start, but this will probably start to get repetitive. So I may just go silent later in the episode. But let's just start out here in 1 Corinthians 14. We're just looking for the next misalignment in the data. And let's see, we're at 1425. We're good. We look good at 15 1a. I may just check the verse numbering here real quick to make sure. And I have the files open. Yeah, 15.1 Here I used A and 3B. I think I'm just standardizing to well, let's see what the verse numbering situation is here. 1 Corinthians 1. So it must be just in the XML file that I have these A and B references. I'm just going to go ahead and take those out just to make it simpler instead of trying to do internal verse divisions. So that'll take care of that on my next pass through the data. But I'm also just going to look for the next word alignment issue here. Okay, there's something coming up right around here. We're in alignment there, and then suddenly we got alignment here. So there's an extra gar. It's a conjunction. Marcus filtered out quite a few of those as inconsistent with the style of the Marcionite text. So I need to go find gar in, it looks like in this case, it's just in the BibleWorks Greek morphology version where the XML and the text transcription align. So let me go delete the gar from 1 Corinthians 15:21. 15:21, there it is, gar. So it's just one word, but that's enough to throw all the data sets out of alignment. And so that's saved now. So I'm saving them down here in a supplemental folder. And then this is kind of the project folder up here. So each time I revise them, I copy them up. And then we can get rid of that. And then we can rerun. This is just a modified version of the same scripts that I was using before, kind of a pipeline that does parsing of the XML data, parsing of the CSV or the text, the two text files, and then joins them together. And you can see we're pretty close to alignment already in the overall numbers, about 6,400 tokens in the main text transcription, a little over 6,400. So five tokens apart, it looks like, comparing the text transcription and the BibleWorks edition. And then because the XML includes a bunch of punctuation that's not in the other editions, it's considerably larger. So, but all three will eventually be in alignment. Let's see. Okay, so it's finished with the latest routine. I'm going to just delete that or close that. Open this back up. All right. So I think we were around 1 Corinthians 14. All right, it's looking good now. I think those, 15, 1, and 3, that's taken care of now, those extra verse identifiers. Got a little punctuation mark here hanging out with one of the words. That's interesting. That usually doesn't happen. I might need to go check the code as to why that's happening. On the other hand, it's not probably that big of a deal, again, because we have multiple versions of the word. Let's see. What is our next misalignment? Okay, we got another one. Okay, hosper n. Okay, we have another gar at 1522. So I need to go delete that. 1522 gar, it should be right at the start of the verse. And it's in the BibleWorks version. 1522 gar right there. All right, that one's done. I'll copy it back up. Rerun the pipe. The joining process takes a little bit of time, but it's not too bad. We can go check that gar in 15. Yeah, no gar there in Markus's edition. All right, here's the latest. So this is essentially what I, have been doing, just repeatedly. I think probably been through about 40 or 50 cycles just this morning. And I'll just continue to keep doing it until it gets in alignment. Let's see, 1421. Okay, we're out of alignment again. Okay, here the gar was the gar. All right, then we have Adam, and then we have a pas. So Markus probably removed that. That's 1522. Oh, we need to go to 15, chapter 15. 1522. Yep. Hosperento Adam, apathneskusin. So it's as in Adam, they died rather than all died, so that the all is being, Markus has filtered it out as not part of the Marcionite version. 1 Corinthians 15 is actually very extensively attested for the Marcionite text. It's one of the most thickly attested. Like most of this chapter was there, but the pas is that sort of it's a feature of exaggeration or hyperbole or universalization that is part of the canonical redaction and not part of the Marcionite text. So let's go find that and filter that out. And again, this will just be in the BibleWorks version because it's not there in the other ones. Let's see. Can get rid of, well. All right, 1522 pas. Here we go. Hosper in toadam apathneskusin. All right, that is done. Saved. Now I take from the bottom here, copy it up once more. Close out the spreadsheets. Rerun the pipe. That one's done. Part 2. I can go with this. This takes probably about 30 seconds. Sometimes I take little breaks while the machine is working. All right, I'll narrate through pass number 3, and then I'll just go silent for the rest of the time. So again, like, I don't expect everybody to watch every second of this, but in the interest of like open science and transparency, I wanted to show the process. Okay, we were at 1521, was it? Hosper into Adama pathneskusen. Okay, so the pas is now gone. That's good. And now we can go move along to the next one. Okay. Okay, this looks like a bigger problem here. We have a totheo hatan. The hatan is there, but the totheo, that was probably an insertion. The kingdom to God. So it looks like Markus inserted that in verse 24. Here we go. Hatan paradido ten basilean totheo. When he gives the kingdom over to God. So the to God was not in his earlier reconstruction, but he added it, and then that's not reflected in the BibleWorks Greek morphology. So I'm going to open up my BibleWorks program and just grab that string because it's already well tagged. I often do this to patch. So again, we're in 1524. 4. We need to add to theo. Hatan paradido ten basilean to theo. Hatan paradido ten basilean to theo right here. So I don't know if you can see that. It's dense, but the to theo just got inserted right here. All right. So again, going to copy that over. This is kind of what I talked about before of human in the loop joining and cleaning. These would be difficult things for a machine algorithm to find and parse and patch all on its own. Maybe in the future, but right now, in terms of getting really clean, high quality data, it takes these kinds of expert human interventions in the process. So let's see. I think I just copied it over. We're good. Run it. Let's do a little quick check on where we're at now in the process. Still 5 tokens apart in the transcription and BibleWorks Greek morphology data sets. We certainly have a ways to go. It's chapter 15 of 1 Corinthians, like I said, this is about halfway. So there's probably still another, if I had to guess, somewhere between 20 and 40 corrections to be made. So I may just stop the episode if it looks like it's going to go on and on and on. Or I may just record the whole thing. Let's see. With other implication. Okay, we're in alignment now in 15, 42, 44, 47. It's looking good through 49, 52, 54, and then through the end, it looks okay. Looks like we're done with 1 Corinthians. Now we're on to 2 Corinthians. That looks good. Okay, now we got a misalignment here. Kai tu zen pasai. Okay, we have another pas. Pasagar. Okay, this is one where actually both are misaligning. So the XML is different from both the transcription and the BibleWorks Greek morphology here. So this might be a verse that so it's in alignment up to verse 8, but then at verse 15, it gets out of alignment and it's a substantial multiple word misalignment. So my guess is what this probably means is that there's an extra verse, like a verse that Markus took out of his edition, and I corrected it in the XML, but I didn't correct it in the text and BibleWorks Greek morphology data sets. So let's look at that. First, we'll go to the XML. We're in 1:15. Oh, that's chapter 3. 2 Corinthians 1:15. Okay, and let's go to the source itself, right? Let's go ad fontes, back to the original source, the basis. 2 Corinthians. Yeah, 2 Corinthians 1. Wow, okay. 8. 8 is gone. Oh, 15, 16, 17. Wow, okay. Something's really amiss here. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off for this episode and do a deep dive into this because this is a bigger problem. Peace out.